without having my phone for a couple of days, you know, you kind of realise how much now I depend on it. Even though I know the phone's going to come back and it's being upgraded or whatever, but you just still don't realise how much you depend on it. And obviously for me, doing what I do, you know, I normally take about 100 calls a day, you know, and when you go through that barren period of not having the phone ring, you have these like little thoughts in your head that the phone's ringing, oh, I must get it, you know what I mean? And it's just been such a weird feeling. What it has showed me is that, you know, almost like the art of communication, personal one-to-one contact is like almost going to be a dying art. Even through not having it, I'm still working off an email. I'm still having that conversation, you know, maybe like this morning, you know, meeting up with a couple of agents and just talking about potential players for the summer window, you know. And just being able to do that and get a whole 2-hour meeting done without your phone ringing every 2 minutes was kind of refreshing, do you know what I mean? But yeah, you don't realise, and I think what I learned from that is just the importance of going back to having that conversation. I mean, I remember one of the first deals I was ever involved in, and the first time, you know, I was actually sat with a player at the level, you know, in terms of Premiership quality level. It was nerve-wracking because you know you're sat with this player and this player potentially has the ability to go all the way. Now that player, he will probably tell you, and his mentality back then was just that, I'm a footballer. I just want to play football. I don't really understand the whole role of the agent. And you know that for the same reason, he's a young player. He needs someone to be by his side and guide him because it's a business that he's getting into. And I think, if I'm being honest, I was just as nervous as the player was, you know, because you're now sat with a player trying to convince him that you're the right person for him. You know, you're the right person for him. You're the person that he needs to be with. Why does he need to do that? Because he probably can have the pick off everyone. But again, it's that personal contact, that personal relationship. What can you do more for that player? And all I've said to the boys is that I'll always be there for you. There would never be a time where you want to know something that I can't give you the answer. And if I can't give you the answer, guess what? I'll go find the answer. You know? And I remember vividly sat in a restaurant down the A10. I won't say the player's name because I don't think it's fair. But sat in a restaurant with the player and his dad, and I remember saying to his mum and dad that, you know, I believe your son's got the ability to go all the way. And they kind of looked at me like, who him? He didn't even clean his room when he's asked, do you know what I mean? And that was such a moment for me because they were still mum and dad at that point. They didn't understand like their son could go on and be an international footballer or play for one of the top 4 clubs in this country, you know, and one of the biggest clubs in world football. But it was me being able to say to them that, listen, he has got talent, he has got ability with a little bit of guidance on the pitch and more off the pitch. Being a young player, things are going to happen for him very, very quickly. His life will change very, very quickly, and he would need someone in order to be a soundboard and be there for him day in, day out. Fast forward 18 months, he's got everything. He's got everything. He's got the whole world at his feet. Now the next problem comes from, how do you then manage that? Because you can't be his dad because he's already got one of them. You can't be his mum because he's already got one of them, and you don't want to come across as that. My definition of a good agent around you is someone that is not afraid to tell you no. He's not afraid to tell you what is right for you. He's not afraid to say, you know what, you don't need to be out tonight. You don't need to have a drink tonight. You need to be in bed at this time when you're going out for someone that is strong, because guess what? Ultimately, if you've got someone like that and you've got anything between your ears, you'll realise that this person is not trying to stop you from growing up. It's not trying to stop you from having fun, not trying to stop you from doing what you want to do. But if you listen and you dedicate yourself to your craft and your sport, by the time you're 30, 35, 36, 37, you're still relatively a young man, fit as a fiddle. You can then go and live your life, to the fullest. So realistically, it's a small price to pay for such a huge reward.
Are you sponsored now? Are you sponsored?
Yes, sir.
Best team in London.
Oh, Nick, don't start all that.
All those WhatsApps from earlier, they're coming back. All those WhatsApps from earlier. All day. Man on it. Take it. That's it. Oh, boy, here we go. Thank you. Wait, get that there. Andy! Man on! Inside. Squeeze! Mapper from wide! All day long! Boys! All day long! Hey, you two, go there, man! Nick, push both of you! Oh, you head up! Tommy, I'm here if you need time, mate! Come back! Charlie! Play on! We're playing on what? What are we doing? Play on! Look here! Watch out for Craig! There goes there! What are you on? Yes! Fucking yes! Hold! Win! Eddie! Take it! Eddie, brilliant! Eddie, only one cross, don't get excited. Only one cross. Sven, come on, take a touch. In them arms. Get out there! That's our ball. Go, Caro. Go to the ball. Don't turn. Look in there. Come on! Where's Eddie? Where are you, Eddie? Where are you? Man on, 2 minutes. Hold! Sammy! Let's mark! Go on, offside! Man on! Fuck off! Excellent. Come on! Great save that. Hey boys, looks like another clean sheet. That's what it looks like.
It's good.
I'll take it out there.
Was that a clean sheet again?
Clean sheet again.
You're not ready. I was expecting to see something from them. I had a lot of talking.
They ain't ready for us yet. Where's Eddie? Anyone seen Eddie? Where are you?
Just finished Monday Night Football, catching up on Jamie Lawrence's documentary that he did last week on BT Sport. When he told me about this documentary coming up with BT and they wanted to do something with him and I was interested in hearing his story, I said he's got to do it. Off the back of Jay's documentary, we've got a meeting next week in London. Jay is living proof that your circumstance don't have to define you, you know. And what's great about it, we're going to meet up next week and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about, you know, all the options now that's being open, all the options and doors that's been open to him because of his story, and see where we can go with that. But I'm really excited about that because I think Jay's a special guy and he's got a special story and he needs to tell that.
We need a bit more to really
Relate.
absolutely to inspire.
Yeah.
The prison do quite well on bringing in guest speakers,
Yeah.
but they're one-off hits.
Yeah.
And my sort of idea was, could we formulate a plan to move forward and work together for some time, and look at what can we develop that creates income for everybody throughout the next year, and with working alongside you.
The difference maker is someone like Jamie being involved in this, because guess what? When Jamie walks into that room with that kid and with the Premier League and with their back and say, listen, I'm Jamie Lawrence, I've been through this, I've done this, I'm living proof that don't go and believe anybody else, hear it from me. I've gone through what these guys have gone through, we need that budget. I will get kids, and through Fulham, we can start our own foundation. And if there was a lot more space in terms of TV and in terms of the highest level at football, having people like Jamie around, there's no kid that's ever going to be able to say to Jamie, well, you don't know what it's like. Yes, he does. He's been there, he's done it, got the t-shirt. He'll probably tell you what you're going to do in the next 5 years, you know? So I think there's a massive, massive part and a role for Jamie to play. And you know, if I was a manager after watching, you know, the documentary, and I'll be straight onto the phone to try and track him down to say, listen, get in here, come and work with us, you know, come and work with the young players, because, you know, these young players need to have some sort of direction and know that, you know, there is pitfalls of life, and more importantly, Jay was lucky. Well, he say lucky, but Jay had a happy ending. You know, he's still working extremely hard now, and you know, and that's a whole part of us wanting to document Jay's story and his journey so far. When you understand your purpose in life, you're then able to go, okay, this is the direction I want to take it in. And I think he's had to go through prison, come out of prison twice, play in the Premier League, come out of the football, deal with all of that, deal with the trappings from not having anything to having something, being in the public eye, things that he used to be able to do, he can't do it no more because he was a public figure. Coming out of that, still a young man relatively, now finding another chapter of his life. And I think with all of that he's been through, to still be able to want to give back now, I think it's a great story, and it's one that, you know, I want to tell, and I'm just grateful that Jay wants to tell it as well. And I think there should be, and there needs to be, a lot more players coming out and doing these kind of documentaries and shows, and letting the next generation know that, listen, you know, we went through some stuff as well. So if your idol's telling you, I've gone through some stuff, then almost as a kid or as that next player coming through, you can go, well, you know what, I'm not alone.
Don't